Hello and welcome. I'm Sean Wendt. I'm your host here at the Went There Cruising channel. Today is a news show. Cruise news for today, the 4th of July, 2025. Happy Independence Day to everybody. Our first story today is a closure story. It's the story of the Disney Dream. Last Sunday, of course, widely reported in the news that a 5-year-old little girl fell off of the ship. Then throughout the week, there were conflicting stories of did the father put her on a railing, or was she there to take a photo, whatever. But finally, yesterday, the Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida released a statement saying that the father did not put her on the railing and that she was sitting on a railing and fell out through a porthole. We got a photo here from a promenade deck Disney Cruise Line ship that shows the portholes that we're talking about that are accessible along the promenade deck with the railing right there. So apparently she was sitting on that railing and fell backwards out through the porthole. So the father did not put her there. So at least that part of the story was not true. That's good to hear. In any case, happy ending though. Glad that they're both okay. That could have been a much more worse story. So we're happy with where that one ended. Story number 2 today also has a kind of a sad ending, though. So on Tuesday, it was reported that a 62-year-old passenger named Marites Buenafe was missing off of a cruise ship in Alaska. Now, it turns out that she was on the Norwegian Bliss, and it was docked in Juneau, and she notified her family that she was going for a hike. But she did not make it back to the cruise ship by the time it departed, and a missing persons investigation was launched. Well, unfortunately, yesterday, the Alaska State Troopers released a statement saying that they had located the body of the hiker. Apparently, she was intending to hike to Gold Ridge, and apparently 1,700 feet below the ridge line there at Gold Ridge is where the Alaska State Troopers have located a body. So unfortunate that occurred, and we do offer our condolences to her family. That must be really, really difficult. Our third story today actually is this story of a new beginning. This week, the Viking Ocean Cruise Line has christened its 12th vessel. The Viking Vesta has now been christened and is currently sailing in the Mediterranean. It is scheduled to sail in the Mediterranean for the next 2 years. That is a very fast-growing cruise line, and they've added several ships in the last several years, with several more planned in coming years. They're smaller ships, so the capacity on this new ship is only 998 passengers. So Viking, a little more upscale cruise line, adults only, but they are taking an aggressive growth plan for the cruise industry. So it'll be interesting to see where they go in years to come. But the big story today comes from Disney Cruise Line. And it's a big story simply because we're talking about their big ship, the Disney Adventure, right? So if you remember, this is the ship that Disney bought a couple years ago during in the pandemic. It was initially going to be the Golden Dream, but the company went out of business due to the issues with the pandemic, and Disney was able to buy this incomplete cruise ship for a really, really good price. So they named it the Disney Adventure, and it is scheduled to start sailing in December. But now they have released the deck plans for this ship. So there was concept art out before, and there's been some photos of it since it's been floated out of the factory where they're being constructed. But now we actually have deck plans for this ship. And so I was looking at it, kind of comparing it to deck plans on the other ships, and what are some things that may be a little bit different on this one. What I am confused about starts with the dining. So according to the Disney website, the rotational dining plan is still going to be in effect. There are 3 different rotations on the dining plan, but when actually looking at the deck plan, there's more than 3 main restaurants. So there's an Enchanted Summer restaurant, and that's down in the town place area of the ship, but it is in 2 separate sections, apparently one themed to Tangled and one themed to Frozen, so that maybe you get one of the 2 during the rotation. There's also two different animators restaurants. So there's an animator's table restaurant and an animator's pallet restaurant on different decks. They're pretty similar themed. This is the where your drawing comes to life kind of thing. So where you do a crayon drawing and turn it in and they animate it and play it on the screen during the course of dinner. So neat, but I'm not quite sure why it split it into two different ones. Maybe it's a space thing, but regardless, there's that. And then also additionally, there's a restaurant called the Hollywood Spotlight Club. So I guess maybe you'll go to that, plus one of the animators, plus one of the Enchanted Summers. Maybe that's how that's going to work. But there's also a Navigators Club restaurant. So I don't know how that one factors in. Well, interesting to see how this will go. But I guess you probably, being that it's only going to be sailing 3 and 4 night cruises primarily, some 5-night cruises, you won't have the opportunity to go to all of those restaurants during even a 5-night cruise. So interesting to see how that rotation works out as they actually start sailing. The buffet in this one is the Pixar Market restaurant, and that is up on deck 17. So the buffet in this one is Pixar themed. That's kind of interesting. Now, this ship does not have the traditional Disney atrium that they do on all the other ships prior to this. But what they do have on decks 10 and 11 is the Imagination Garden. And this seems to sort of take the place of that atrium, right? There's a stage there for doing shows similar to what we see like on the Wish class ships. So we'll see how that works out. But interestingly there's several restaurants on that same deck. So it's deck 10 and 11 for the Imagination Garden, but you'll see several restaurants there on that same deck, including Mowgli's Eatery, Grandma Tala's Kitchen, Stitch's Ohana Grill, Cosmic Kebabs, and Bewitching Boba and Brews. So some of the restaurants that I think would more traditionally maybe be up on the pool deck are not. They're down there on that deck off of the atrium, either Discovery Reef or the Imagination Garden. The pool deck itself actually only has a few restaurants, a few eateries there. There's Pizza Planet, Wheezy's and Freezy's, and Bounce and Hops, which is sort of more typical pool deck food, it sounds like, but not as many options there as you see on the earlier Disney ships. The main theater is spanning 3 decks, decks 5 through 7 on this ship. So that's an extra deck as compared to on the other Disney ships. Interestingly, on this one, the concierge areas are really expansive. So actually on 3 different decks, one deck having the concierge lounge, one deck having a concierge spa and fitness center, and the third deck having a concierge pool and restaurant. So a much more larger concierge area than we see on the other ships. Now, what's not really clear on this, looking after the deck plans, is how this compares for adult areas. So yes, there are clearly lounges throughout the ship, including a Tiana's Lounge and a Buccaneer Bar, and some other interesting themed lounges. No Haunted Mansion one, though. So we not like the 2 more recent ships has the Haunted Mansion bar, not present on this one. But there's also the Palo restaurant. What there really does not seem to be, though, is an adults pool area. So certainly on all the earlier Disney ships, pretty nice adult-only pool areas, and it does not appear to exist on this Disney Adventure. At least I didn't see it anywhere on the deck plan. I guess they could designate one of the pools up there for adults only, but it's certainly not separated the way it is on the earlier ships. So I'll leave a link in the description down to the deck plans for the new Disney Adventure, so you can go and take a look at that and see what you think. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What are you willing to try this ship? Would you do Disney at all? But if you are a Disney Cruise Line person, are you willing to try the Disney Adventure? This ship was not designed from the ground up as a Disney ship, right? It started off as something else entirely, and Disney bought it and remodeled it while it was still under construction into a Disney Cruise Line ship. But I kind of look at it like if Disney had bought, let's say, a Six Flags park that was under construction, I'm sure they could spruce it up and make it nice, but is it truly a Disney park? Is this truly a Disney ship? I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. But for the first 5 years, the Disney Adventure will be sailing out of Singapore. So I'm not sure I'm going to get over there in the next 5 years, but you never know. Maybe I will. Maybe it'd be worth the trip. Well, all right. I know lots to do. This is July 4th, so I'm sure people have parties and things to attend. I'll let you get to it. This is the news for today. Thank you for watching. If you please like the video. And if you enjoy this cruise content, please subscribe. And until we see you next time, we're wishing you smooth sailing. Take care.